Hey everyone, it's Sawan here, and today we're diving deep into a topic that's super relevant right now, the unique challenges that Gen Z faces while navigating the world of architecture school. We're talking about a generation that's digitally fluent, passionate about sustainability, and facing a future that looks a lot different than it did for previous generations of architects. From studio culture to the rise of AI, we're breaking down the big issues and exploring how these factors are shaping the future of architecture education. Let's get into it. Okay, so we all know Gen Z practically breathes technology. They're all about that digital workflow, using apps and software for everything, but here's the thing, architecture education has been slow to adapt. We're talking hand drafting, physical model making. These traditional methods are still the backbone of many curriculums. And don't get me wrong, those skills are important, but this constant back and forth between digital and analog can lead to some serious digital fatigue. It's like your brain is constantly switching gears, and that takes a toll. Let's talk about studio culture for a second. We've all heard the stories, the all-nighters, the endless critiques, the pressure cooker environment. Now this isn't exactly new for architecture students, but Gen Z is pushing back against this always-on mentality. They're prioritizing mental health, work-life balance, things that older generations might not have talked about as openly. And this clash of values, the expectation of constant availability versus the need for boundaries, that's a real struggle for a lot of students. Let's be real, architecture school is expensive, and I'm not just talking about tuition, we're talking software subscriptions, materials, printing. Those costs add up quickly, and Gen Z is coming of age in a time of economic uncertainty. Student debt is a huge concern. So, imagine pouring your heart and soul into a project, only to have to compromise on materials or printing because of budget constraints. That's a tough pill to swallow, and it's something a lot of students are dealing with. Gen Z is deeply concerned about climate change, social justice, sustainability. It's practically in their DNA. But there's a disconnect between these values and what's being taught in some architecture schools. We're talking about outdated building practices, a lack of focus on sustainable design, and this gap between what they're learning and what they believe in can be really disheartening. It's like you're being trained for a future that you don't want to be a part of. Let's face it, Gen Z grew up with the internet. They're used to consuming information in bite-sized pieces. TikTok, Instagram, you name it. So, when you throw them into an environment that demands deep focus, long lectures, dense theoretical texts, it can be a real struggle. Their brains are wired for quick stimulation, and architecture often requires a more contemplative, patient approach. It's not that they can't focus, it's that the way they've been conditioned to learn is different. Here's an interesting one. Gen Z might be the most digitally connected generation, but when it comes to face-to-face communication, there can be a bit of a disconnect. Think about it. They've grown up expressing themselves online through visuals, memes, emojis. So when they're thrown into a critique where they have to articulate their ideas verbally or present their work in a traditional format, it can be intimidating. And in a field where communication is key, this is a hurdle they have to overcome. We're living in a time where artificial intelligence is changing everything, and Gen Z is entering the workforce with this looming question: will AI replace architects? It's a valid concern, and it's pushing them to think outside the box, to develop skills that go beyond traditional design. They're not just competing with their peers, they're competing with algorithms, and that adds a whole new layer of complexity to their career anxieties. This is something we need to talk about more openly. Gen Z is facing a mental health crisis with rates of anxiety, depression, and burnout higher than ever before. And the demands of architecture school, the long hours, the constant pressure, the competitive environment, that can exacerbate these issues. It's crucial that architecture schools prioritize mental health support, create a culture where it's okay to ask for help. Because at the end of the day, we need to take care of our students, not just their design skills. So there you have it, folks. Those are some of the key challenges Gen Z is facing in architecture school. It's a generation that's pushing boundaries, challenging the status quo, and demanding more from their education. They're not afraid to address the tough questions, whether it's about sustainability, mental health, or the future of the profession. And it's up to educators, institutions, and frankly all of us to listen to their concerns and adapt to their needs. Because at the end of the day, these are the architects who will be shaping our future, and we need to make sure they're equipped to build a better world. Thanks for watching.